Hi, Terrell. Hi, Christiane. How are you all?
Doing good, doing good. How are you guys doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Excited that you could join us. Sorry with the time change, the calendar
No
didn't
worries, no
didn't
worries.
update. So
We
I'm
here,
glad
we
you had
here, we
time.
made it. We made
Yeah,
it.
I'm glad you're still available.
Terrell,
My
what's going
main
on?
man,
Long
Ron.
time.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's good to see you.
Good to see
Christiane,
you as
how are
well.
you? I don't know if she can hear us, but good to see you joining us. Give it a few
Looks
more
like she's
minutes
on
to
mute.
some other people hop in. Yeah, that'll be good. What's been new in your world, Terrell? How was your
Man,
event? You had an event you went to. How'd it go?
it went well, it went well. So this is with another company that we did a partnership that we'll be doing some more work together called Forever Media. And they help like authors and speakers get on more stages. Um, and he had an event for just those speakers where he got their billboard and their books on their books and the speakers on the billboard at Times Square, and then talk about his new venture with working with a speaker bureau. And the speaker bureau is going through him to get more of these coaches and book authors to all these different conferences, and he's going to help them like get breath speakers to the conferences. So our partnership is some of the people that come to my podcast platform, helping him get them through his network, and then get them onto. He's gonna help them get onto stages. So
No, it's cool. It's a
yeah,
big deal. It's a big deal.
yeah.
Jadika, how are you? Good to see you. I think you're muted.
I can't hear you.
Doing good.
Good to see you. Good to see you again. Yesterday you had your avatar up. It was your iPhone person. I think it was a cartoon person yesterday, wasn't it?
Hmm. It was.
Yep. Kimberly, what's up? What you over there eating for lunch? I saw you. I saw you having lunch over there.
Roasted chicken thighs and roasted vegetables.
Did you bring enough for
That sounds.
everybody?
Virtually, yes.
And Christiane, nice to meet you. Am I saying your name properly? Is it Christian or Christiane?
No, Christiane's perfect. Most people get it wrong. Nice job.
Perfect, perfect.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, where are you signing in from?
Vancouver, Canada, West
Oh,
Coast. Morning
okay.
for me, not lunchtime. I just dropped my kid off at school and I
Cool, perfect. And so this is our daily Speaker Hub Q&A. Hop in, ask questions. We help you with two things. Number one, how to get on more stages, and number two, how to better use our software. You don't have to be a paid Speaker Hub member to join this, so anybody who's a speaker can always hop in and ask us any questions they have. And hopefully, if we answer their questions properly, they will decide to use our products and services. So, usually we go around at the beginning and let everyone introduce themselves. Try to keep it to about 30 seconds. And yeah, so Terrell, if you want to go ahead and go first, tell us what you do in a quick 30 seconds.
Yeah, Terrell Simmons here, founder of the Rise Urban Nation podcast. I interview Pan Africans all across the world just to elevate and amplify their stories.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I've been on that podcast. We've done a lot of work in the past together. So Terrell's a good guy. I like his podcast a lot and what he does. And Kimberly, Kimberly Walker, the lunch lady.
I am Dr. Kimberly Walker. I'm a psychiatrist and a coach. I help women, especially who are feeling stuck, burned out with their mindsets, and I use RTT, which uses hypnotherapy to get to the root cause of the issue.
Gotcha. So if you tried your stuff since you work with women, if you tried it on me, it wouldn't work, right?
It would work, but I typically
So you
work
got
with
to
women.
you better broaden that up a little bit.
Okay, now people tell you to niche, so
Yeah, yeah. But here's the thing: when you go into, if you're trying to get into corporate, they can't just do sessions for women, right?
Okay,
'Cause
your
that would
point is
be
well taken.
discriminating. So you got to keep it broad, and then you can get in I help people to do these things, whether you want to focus on women or men or whatever, then you subcategorize after that. Does that make sense? Because in order to get the corporate gigs, they can't say this session is only for men over 35 or white men, or this is only for black men. They're gonna have DEI issues. So we eliminate ourselves unintentionally from opportunities because we're using niching in the wrong time. Does that make sense?
Okay, that does make sense. Thank you.
Yep. So now, if the company is having a women's only for Women's History Month in March or whatever, then that's when you say, I do this for women, right? But other than that, you do it. If it only works on women, cool. But if it works on anybody, it's for everybody. Got it? Cool. All right. Sorry for coaching, but this is how me and Kimberly talk to each other all the time. Janika, how are you? You ready to tell us what you do? I think you're muted. You want to tell us what you do, Miss Olatunde?
Okay, I didn't hear you. That's what happened.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay,
Yeah, just 30 seconds about what you do and what your topic is.
I'm a naturopathic healthcare practitioner. I work with people, relieving people's pain through the power of touch.
Oh, that's incredible. That is incredible. And
My
where
my
where
sister
you
is
tuning in from?
are you Nigerian?
Connected, family connection.
Gotcha.
Okay. Where are you calling in from? What city?
Stress capital USA, aka Washington, D.C.
That's funny. The stress capital. I can imagine, you know. And Christiane, you told me you're from Vancouver. What's your topic?
Yeah, I'm an embodiment coach and I've been working one-on-one with clients for the past 8 years, but I really want to branch out and do more group work. I'm a trained group coach. I was a teacher. I love groups. I do facilitation in teacher world and I'd love to branch out. So I give presentations to all the districts, but I'm kind of tired of teacher land.
And what's the topic again?
Oh, I'm an embodiment coach. So I
What's that?
help people access change through the body instead of the mindset. So kind of a reverse engineered approach. And lots with the nervous system, how to, self-regulate, how to find calm, how to find resilience and focus and make those changes in your body patterns to change your brain. So it's kind of backwards.
Gotcha. It's kind of like, you ever watched Major Pain? It's an
No,
old movie with Damon Wayans from years ago.
that rings a bell. That is old.
And in the opening scene, this guy, he gets shot in the leg and he's screaming. He said, oh, my leg, my leg. And Major Payne, the general in the army, he comes over, he says, want me to take your mind off that leg? And the guy says, yes, do whatever you, I don't want to think about this leg, it's hurting so much. He said, give me your right hand. He puts up his right hand and he breaks all of his fingers. He says, oh, my fingers. He says, works every time. He was no longer thinking about that leg once his fingers were sideways. So he was kind of an embodiment coach, right?
Maybe not the route I take.
I'm joking. I'm just kidding. I'm just being silly. And Rodney Lawson, what's going on?
Hey man, I attended your conference, but I had my TEDx speech coming up. I delivered it, did a remarkable job as we talked about last weekend. So now that that's done and over with, now I'm looking to get into the full-blown Speaker Hub thing. So my topic this past weekend was leadership is not just your skill sets, where I focus more on the values of having that foundational pillar so that you can garner influence and loyalty. And I'm developing a keynote speech, looking to speak more in the corporate realm with that. Of course, after the TEDx speech is released, because you can't have that information floating out there prior to them releasing it. But so now I'm full blown ready to go, man. So that's why I'm.
Ange, real quick, Ange, I see your note takers recording. Are you recording also?
No, didn't record. I'll record to my computer as well.
Yeah, we need the recording of this. So, okay, yeah, just remember, I know your note taker is taking notes, but if somebody wants to come back in to watch, we'll just keep the recordings of these. No, that's pretty cool. So I'm glad to hear everything went well, and thanks
Yeah.
again for the compliment on the Pro Speaker Summit that is up for replay. If you go to prospeakersummit.com, you can check out the 37 sessions that we did. There are 0 pitches in that conference. Nobody's on there pitching you a bunch of products. We're just giving you the game on how to get on more stages and be more effective with your message.
So much information in there. Just invaluable, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
But
no
again,
problem.
that's
Next time we
why I'm
charge
back.
it. We charge it next time. No, that's cool. And Darren, how's it going? Good to see you again. I think you've been on here before.
Hello to everyone. What's going on, Ron? How you doing?
Good to see you. So
Thank
yeah,
you, man.
just go ahead and take 30 seconds and tell us what you speak about and where you're from.
Okay, I'm originally from New Orleans. I live in the DFW Metroplex, and just recently, Saturday, I spoke to the Magnificent Male Experience, with high school and college students associated with Xavier University of Louisiana, and we spoke about just the topic was earn while you learn, and just sharing with them different things about acquiring life currency. And also how to look at doors of opportunity, how to also take advantage of experience. Not always your experience. You can always learn from other people, and also just sharing with them some academic and time management skills. As Christine, I believe is her name. I'm a former educator and athletic coach, and I've been speaking since last spring. So it's been real good. And Angela has helped me out with a few things at SpeakerHUB also.
No, that's cool. That's cool. And someone says, I would love to participate on your podcast. Oh, that's what Terrell. They get the
Perfect.
podcast sessions in the background, which is cool.
That's
Now, let me say
perfect.
something.
That's why we're here.
If y'all come on these meetings and y'all don't network with each other and borrow each other's stages and audiences and build partnerships, y'all crazy. All right. That's what this is about. Like every day we get on for an hour from Monday through Friday at 12 noon until 1. And I answer any questions or do whatever type of trainings you all would like. So before we get started, are there any questions or things you want me to cover today while we're on? Does anyone need any help with the software? Are you all familiar with SpeakerHUB Pro and SpeakerHUB? Let me know before I get started into my stuff
Yeah,
for today.
I have a quick question. So I did the free trial and then I purchased, I guess maybe last week. But is it like at the first of every month that you get the 40 new pitches, or is it when the date, like 30
Yeah,
days from the time?
it's the day of your payment, right?
Okay, because I was in the trial, so uh, I guess we'd have to kind of at the back office kind of look at my account and see
Yeah, I'll tell
if
you.
I'll
I'll look
get a.
over it. I'll have it up here.
Okay.
Right. And then if you run out of pitches, you can always buy an extra pitch pack. And those pitch packs, they don't expire. So if you buy one that has 200 pitches and you end up only sending another 50, those other 150 roll over. Right?
Yeah, right. I just didn't see the new one that came, the new 40 that came with the purchase of the plan. That's what I was asking.
Gotcha. Yeah. So actually what ends up happening is that the initial plan that you got should have came with 25 extra ones during the trial, plus
Okay.
the 40 normal ones.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So you should have had 65 altogether. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So the trial is 25 free pitches, and then
The
you
40
get
that's
whatever
paid
your
for.
new ones are on the first. Yours is set up on the first of each month. I just
Okay.
looked at it.
Thank you.
Right? Yep. No problem. Yeah. So if you ever, we always do a booking report. So if you get booked on a podcast or something using the system, please let us know. The people ask all the time, well, why do you only limit us to this number of pitches? Because if you do the follow-ups, right, it ends up doubling the opportunity. Most people don't know that the fortune is in the follow-up, right? So go ahead, Ange.
And the follow-up doesn't count as more
No, the
pitches. You're
follow-up does
allowed to
not
follow
count
up
as
as many times.
so you can follow up and continue that conversation with the person as much as you would like, right? So I'm going to share something with you. I think it's pretty cool. So I like to talk about this because I think it puts things in perspective on how important follow-up is. So let me bring this up. And 1 second. Yeah, follow-up is like probably the most important thing that you can do in business. And it's probably one of the more overlooked things also, because most people don't follow up sufficiently. So let me share my screen here. And so here's why follow-up's important. 48% of salespeople, they'll reach out to one person or they get a lead, they reach out one time, right? How many sales are made on the first contact? 2%. So if you reached out to 100, this is just overall universal stats, no matter what industry, it's just universal large numbers. So if you just talk to the person once, all they do was hear about your product one time, they weren't referred to you by anybody, they were cold, it's a 2% chance of closing, right? 25% of salespeople reach out a second time. Just by reaching out a second time, you increase that closing number by 50%. 12% of salespeople reach out 3 times. You almost triple your chance of closing them by reaching out a 3rd time. Now, let me show you I'll tell you what a contact stands for, right? Because it could be an email, it could be sending them, they can see you on LinkedIn, they can see your ad, they can see any types of different contacts with you that counts as a contact because it's reminding them that they should trust you. Is that fair? And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts, right? But 90% of sales are done after the 3rd contact. 90% of your deals will be closed after the person has seen you at least 4 times. 4 times. This many, right? So one of the easiest investments that you can make as a speaker is in a LinkedIn premium account. The reason being is that I get to see everybody who's looking at my account. So if I send a person an email and I send them a picture from our system and they got my LinkedIn at the bottom and they click over, I know that Rodney looked at my LinkedIn. So now I know, okay, at least he went to check me out. He may not have replied to me, but he went and checked me out, right? Now I'm gonna add him because it shows everybody who's, look, you see these folks? You know what I do? I connect with them. Deanna, yep, she gonna get one. You looked, we gonna be friends, right? This is what I do. I come through here and I look. You can see most of them I've already connected with. But I come through, I look, that's why it says message, because I've already connected with them. If you look at my profile, I'm gonna connect with you, right? The reason being is you were looking for some reason. But if I sent you a pitch and I saw you looked at my profile, I'm gonna say, yo, I applied for the conference, would love to connect and talk. So now and then LinkedIn is gonna help me. When you send a message on LinkedIn, that LinkedIn sends them the email as a LinkedIn email saying, Rodney reached out to you. Do you want to see his message? So not only did they get my normal pitch, they got my message on LinkedIn and then LinkedIn sent them a message. Cheat code or no? This is $20. I don't get paid for it, but it's $20 for LinkedIn Premium. Right? It's the easiest $20 because you get to see everybody. And getting booked as a speaker is about relationships. Right? It's about relationships. This is how you build relationships with people. Right? You want them to see, if they looking at my stuff, I know they're a speaker. So I need them to see my post about speaking. Fair? Right. So that's the gist of that. It's like, hey, if I'm going to be reaching out to folks, I need to be found. And if they're going to click over on my page, I'm going to add them as a friend and I'm going to follow up again. So the fortune is in that follow up. Most people don't follow up at all. I get emails all the time from people that use SpeakerHUB, and they say, man, I sent 100 pitches. Only 2 people got back to me. And I'm like, yeah, how many follow-ups? Well, I ain't send no follow-ups. I'd rather send new ones. Yeah, okay, cool. Right? Anybody who has a girlfriend probably had to shoot a shot at her more than once. Any woman that's married probably didn't go for the first thing that her husband said to her. Right? It's just how life works, but we think it's different. We think in business somebody owes us something, and they don't. I have to care more about getting my message out there than anything else. I'll tell y'all one of my secrets. People hit me up all the time. Hey, can we do this on your platform? Can we do that? Yeah, we're not doing that right now. Hit me back in 6 months. I just want to see how much they want it. Right? Now, do they have to wait 6 months? No, they can call me back the next month that we can hop on another call. But by default, it's 6 months. Why? Because me sending an email to our 60,000 users is going to benefit them more than what it's going to benefit me. And if I don't think they're going to still be in the business, or they even care about a relationship with our company more than us sending out an email for them, why even build that relationship? Right? Why even go down that path if it's all one way? Is that fair? So be sure to follow up. It's about relationships. It's not just about pick me to dance. It's, do you want to dance with me? I don't want to dance by myself because that's selfish. I need a dance partner in this association. I want to be able to help you all, and maybe in the future you all can come on my platform and help me. That's the idea.
I have a question, Ron.
Yep.
All right, so when we're going through the pitches, sometimes we run into, and I get it, there's an invalid email, right?
Yep.
But it takes that particular podcast away from our list. Well, what I do is I try to like go on Spotify or Instagram and look for those uh, uh, podcast companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it takes it off my list, is it a way for that not to happen?
Yeah, so that's done by default, because
Right.
if we know we don't have the right information, we quarantine it from everybody. So if it says it's invalid for you, we don't want Rodney to go in and run into the same issue. So we actually take it out of the whole data set. Right. And I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying, that you still want to be able to see it. And that's something we didn't think about. You're the first person that said, oh, outside of here, we go and we look for it on Spotify or someplace else.
But you can still contact them,
Yeah. No, I totally get it. That's something we probably could add as a thing that says invalid emails, and then maybe allow you, if you find the email, to upload it as your own contact. That's a great suggestion. So I'm not saying no. I'm saying I was giving you the reason why it worked that way, but it worked that way because nobody ever asked me what you just asked. Right. So we'll work on that. I think that's a good suggestion. So Ange, can you put that as a note to give to Miguel, that potentially show a list? It could be in the settings someplace of invalid emails, so that if the person wants to go and find those on their own, they can. But no, thanks for the suggestion. I think that's a good feedback. Any other questions or comments before I get into what I want to talk about today? Christiane, you have any questions? Are you using SpeakerHUB Pro or SpeakerHUB?
No, I found you by accident on Alignable, I think, and I had no idea what SpeakerHUB was. I had no idea who you were, and I thought I'd drop in and see what this was all about. And
All right.
I'm Googling your SpeakerHUB as you're talking.
Okay,
Trying to
cool.
figure out what you're talking about.
So on a daily basis, I'm a firm believer that people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught.
Yeah.
Right. So in every one of these sessions, we always go over the Speaker Flywheel. And I'm going to bring that up here on the page here, and we'll walk through that. So this is your first time meeting us, I'm Ron. I'm the head of product at SpeakerHUB, and just the person who runs operations for the company. And our whole job is to help speakers to get booked on 3 types of stages: podcast, paid speaking gigs, and press. And over the last 5 years, I've worked with over 1,000 speakers doing pitching for them. And we have 62,000 people that use SpeakerHUB today, very similar to LinkedIn. So with working with those speakers, I learned some basic key things. The first one was not that. The first one was this: proactive pitching beats everything else. So you need to be proactively pitching the stages you want to be on, right? You can't wait to be discovered. Nobody's going to run around and hand you a dream. You got to do what Darren was doing. He's pitching the podcast he wants to be on, right? But he's also doing something else. He's using smaller stages, since he's a new speaker, to get larger stages. So the more podcasts he goes on, the more interviews he has to send out, the bigger stages to show his expertise in certain areas, right? So we want to use smaller stages to get bigger stages. The third growth hack that we learned was you got to learn to give profitable free speeches, which means that everybody won't pay you to show up. Rodney, how much did you get paid to do that TEDx talk?
Zero.
Zero,
$0.
right? You probably had to travel, and if it wasn't in your city, you may have had to travel and get a hotel and do other things. So it cost you money to get on that stage.
Yeah,
right?
well, actually, it cost me money. I hired a coach to work with me, and I think that was the best route to go. But luckily for me, it was right here in Houston. But you're absolutely right. The exposure, though, has been off the chain.
Yep, there it is. So you don't always get paid to show up, but you may get paid during the event or after the event, right? So there's 3 ways to get paid: before, during, and after. The best speakers will always get paid in 2 out of the 3, right? So you usually don't get paid for a TEDx, but usually people find you and you may get consulting clients, or you may get other speaking gigs based on how good of a performance you put on at the TEDx event. But you went into our 4th growth hack, which is invest in the right tools and data sets. A coach is a tool. They're going to give you the shortcut on how to be better. They're going to help you with how to get your TEDx talk down to 17 minutes, how to stand on the red dot, all of those things. They coach you through to give you the shortcut to making that thing work, versus you having to go and discover this stuff on your own. Always be willing. The best speakers are willing to invest in the right tools and data sets, right? So they're always proactive. They're using one stage to get another. What they say, book a stage from a stage, right? So you always want to be doing that. Or BAM fam is what some people call it, book a meeting from a meeting, right? But the third thing is learn to give profitable free speeches, right? And then the 4th, which is invest in the right tools and data sets. Now, why do we talk about that? Because if you have that mindset and you're using the flywheel, you're almost unstoppable. Most people are doing a part of these things. They're not doing all 6 functions. Here's the first function. You got to make sure your inbound is set up properly, right? Anybody who looked at my LinkedIn page, that's an inbound lead that I should be talking to. Because they didn't look at me because they wanted to learn to break dance. They looked at it because I said I could book you on speaking gigs. That's an inbound lead. But if I don't have my page set up so that people know clearly what I do, I can't generate those leads, right? The second part is what we call outbound. Outbound is what Darren was doing, reaching out, pitching. I'm going to pitch my way onto the stage. I met Terrell because we pitched Terrell for me to be on his podcast. That's how I know him. It wasn't because we were friends. It was a pitch, right? It was a pitch done by Angie's booking agency 2 years ago. But you see that relationship. The relationship is still there from 2 years ago, right? So this is how it works. We live it. We're not just telling you some goofy thing. We actually live this. So outbound and inbound need to work together.
I have
Make
a question.
sense? Yep, go ahead.
Ron, can you put the last screen up, the last slide?
Yep, I'll give you the slides if you want them.
No, no, I just have a specific.
Okay.
I got one from the Pro Summit, but so I guess my question is, when you're doing the free talks and sometimes the any talk right now, right? So
You
but
talking about this slide?
yes, sir.
Okay.
With the free speeches and minimal amount of funds right now coming in from speeches, majority of my audiences are students, right?
Yep.
So I use another platform called Talkabout to get the surveys, which is awesome. And they let me know they want to hear me speak again, but they're not the decision makers. The kids are, right? So for instance, I spoke to a group of kids at Xavier University, right? But I know that these kids are from all over the nation. I need to get like what are some suggestions so that I can get in front of those decision makers at their schools, at their youth organizations, that I could impact other students, not just the 35 that were on that call last Saturday. Any suggestions on that?
Yeah, 100%. Right. So we got 7,935 youth associations in the upgraded version. You have the podcast only version of SpeakerHUB Pro, where you can only reach out to podcasts. If you click on associations, you won't see this because you don't have that version. But there are 7,935 associations right here. If you want to look at the ones that are just in Texas, we can filter that just for Texas, 264 youth organizations just in Texas. Does that make sense? You want to go talk to 100 Black men. They do work with youth organizations, with the young people, right? You type in 100 Black men, it's going to come up. They have a banquet every year. Their whole thing is mentoring. So we got it. That's already there. Those are the people you want to reach out to. 100 Black men improves the quality of life of the communities we serve. Mentoring is the core service delivery of the 100, the largest network of African American male mentors in the nation. This is your people.
Gotcha. And any other suggestions that I can share with with my audience to put me in contact with, without saying that, to put me in contact with other, people that have influence on them to get to a larger audience.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the coolest things is whenever you do you do a debrief with the association that you spoke with?
Yes.
Okay. In that debrief, do you ask for referrals?
Of course. Yes.
Okay. Let's practice here.
Okay.
Hey, thank you for speaking at the summit, Darren. We're going to get you all of the data that you needed, all of the people that registered, so you can follow up with them. Anything else for me before we head off?
Yes, Ron. Well, I definitely enjoyed the experience, and thank you for allowing me to impact the students. I guess one of the biggest things, man, is just if you have any colleagues who are in similar positions as yourself who could benefit from our services, man, can you share with me their email, or even better, put us in the three-way email so that I can meet them?
Right. So what you just did is 95% of what everybody does for referrals. It's not wrong. It's just not the best thing. I'm going to reverse it. And I'm going to show you how I do. Okay. So this is the gym. Like, this is cheating. Okay. All right. So you're the event organizer. I spoke at your event. I'm going to show you what I would do.
Okay.
Right. So go ahead and tell me thanks for the event, whatever, and then I'll.
Right. Ron, thank you again, man, for coming on and sharing with our with the audience. We definitely enjoyed you guys. Is there anything that we can do for you moving forward?
Yeah, Darren, I really appreciate it. If you ever have any other events in the future, feel free to call me. I would love to come back. I love to build long-term relationships, whether this is a quarterly thing or an annual thing that you're doing. I would love to be a part of anything going in the future. Even if you need me to switch up the topics, this was just one topic I could cover, but I could cover a lot more. Is that fair?
Yes.
And one last thing. I brought this list with me of organizations I'm going to be reaching out to anyway. I'm going to be reaching out to the 100 Who Care Alliance, the 100 Black Men, 100 Club of Texas, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and all of these different ones. Do you mind if I tell them that I met with you when I reach out to them?
Sure.
You mind if I mention that I spoke here and mention your name specifically?
Well, I definitely appreciate that.
Okay, perfect. Dude, I just got your permission to mention you to every organization. I didn't give you a job. You see, I didn't tell you go to work for me and give me the emails and do all that. No, I'm gonna CC you on all them emails.
I got you.
Right? I'm gonna CC you on all them emails. Hey, Ange, I spoke with Darren the other day. He had some great things to say about 100 Black women in Fort Worth. Right? I did a great speech for their organization, the F42 Foundation. I would love to come in and talk, or at least get on an intro call to see if there's some way I can work with 100 Black women. That's my email. Now,
Yeah.
you know what her reply is going to be? She's not just going to reply back to me. She's going to say, hey, Darren, nice to meet you too. Now you got a relationship.
Yeah.
You see, I didn't hire him to work for me. I got his permission to leverage his name and his group in the email, and then I gave him a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of a company called Northwestern Mutual?
Yes.
That's how their entire company was built, off of that set of language that I learned 20 years ago. Every agent that works at Northwestern Mutual will show up with a list of leads, even if you don't know them. And they say, do you mind if I tell these people that you and I met? Usually they know somebody at the YMCA in the city, and they know another business owner, especially if they're competitors. They're in the same industry. Yeah, you can tell them, oh yeah, I know Dr. Such and Such. Every time. They never say no. Because there's no risk. Doing it your way, you're sicking a pit bull on them. Man, why are you giving these people my phone number? I don't want to meet with them. I ain't interested in that. You see how you sicken the pit bull? Don't nobody want a dog sicked on them.
Gotcha.
Because now you're forcing them to vouch for you. You see how I took all that risk off your table?
Yes. Oh yeah, it makes
I
sense.
didn't ask you to think. I didn't say, if you think of anybody. No. I'm putting you in debt. Let me tell you the debt I just put you in. I just introduced you to 5 people. Now you
Yeah.
feel guilty if you recommend somebody else before me, because I just introduced you to 5 people you didn't know.
Didn't know. Yep. No, it makes sense. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Is that fair?
Oh yeah.
Gotcha. Terrell, question.
No, it was more of just because I used to do the same thing. I used to do public speaking towards the youth, and I wanted him to switch his framework up. The students are your audience; they're not your customer. Your
Right.
customers are the decision makers, and so you need to switch that framework up in your whole mindset and strategy. And what you need to be getting is looking at how do you reach your customers or the decision makers, like at these. Um, so, so all schools have where they have training, staff training that they're supposed to do. And how do you get to the professional development days and then talk to them about the things that you do for the audience, which is those students, right? And then once you get into all those, like say if you go to a school district on their professional development and you do it for free, you got 5 school districts in there. They're going to make sure in their next budget they get you like, oh man, we got to get Darren on our next budget for all these different schools to speak on this topic. I had them at the professional development day. That's a resource now. Let's book them up through all of Texas, through all of the states that you go to for their professional development days. And I'll give you, when we meet, I'll give you more game on how I did it when I was doing what you were doing.
So there's 2 sessions you should watch. If you go to prospeakersummit.com, 2 sessions. One by a guy named Jared. What's Jared's last name? Shoot. I can't think of Jared's last name. I got to look him up. Jared and the other guy is Stan. Jared does high schools only.
I think it's
And he
Scott.
does 3 days. Huh?
I think
Jared
it's
Scott.
Scott.
Jared Scott. Yeah, he does 3 days. It's incredible, and he's a psychiatrist also. So he does 3-day workshops at schools, 1 day with the students, 1 day with the teacher, 1 day with the students and the teachers, and he always books 3 days, right? Killer workshop for free. Go watch it. The other one is with Stan Pearson. He does associations and universities. right? And he talks about how he built those relationships with the associations and the universities. Does that make sense? So that way you end up learning how to do the high schools, but then you can get the associations and go to the universities, because all of those in business, we have three different things. We have a payer, that's the person that's paying for it, right? We have the owner, that's the person that makes the decision. And we have a beneficiary, that's the person that receives what we do. Sometimes they can be all three people, but not always. So in a school, the payer may be the school district because they gave the budget $5,000 for some type of bringing in somebody for an assembly. The owner is the person who made the decision to bring you in. The beneficiary is the students. Does that make sense? Now, in some cases, if you're doing a corporation, the owner is the person the HR person that brought you in. The beneficiary is all of the employees there, but the payer was the business. Is that fair? At a conference, the owner is the event planner. The payer is whoever the production company of the conference. The beneficiary are the conference attendees. And sometimes we start focusing more on trying to get the attendees to pay us. But in reality, we got to understand who's putting their job on the line. And that's always the owner. Because when I say owner, they own the responsibility for the event. So I'm glad that Terrell brought that up so that I can make that distinction. Rodney, question.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add on to what both of you guys were saying, right on point, to give Devon a little more insight or like a cheat code, right? So you got the referrals, you got where to go, where to find them. Now, what I would focus on is putting together something that's going to set me apart from everyone else. And so what I would suggest is if you got any footage of you speaking to the children and the reactions, right, on video footage somewhere, pictures, take all of that, get with Fiverr, it's an app, and you can find someone on there very inexpensive and put together a small like sizzle reel, right? Something that's showing you speaking, because when you get in front of these individuals, they're going to want you to send them a one pager. They're going to want to see how you speak and what you speak, and they're going to want to see the children's reaction. And based off of those things, that is what would either put you at the top of the list, in the middle of the list, or the bottom of the list. But get something, package it together really, really well. And as you go to these places and get your information from SpeakerHUB and you reach out, that's the type of information I will be sending out to them. Yep. So I just thought I'd add that in.
No, that's a huge tip. How many of you all go to your speaking gigs by yourself?
I never go by myself. It's my wife or someone that's got my iPhone out filming. Well, they tell X wouldn't allow you to do it, but we took a boatload of pictures beforehand and afterwards. Trust me.
Yeah, and one of the things this guy, Sean Fair, he's mastered this, and he goes and he does a speaking gig, but then he has someone that's, people say take a photo. Hey, I want to take a photo, right? So the person, somebody taking a photo, and then has someone else that's interviewing. What'd you think about Sean's speech? And it's like, dude, this is totally cheating, because now he has the clips for that speaker reel from people that, I love when Sean talked about this was that, and this was incredible, right? That's all you need, because now it's showing the impact of what you're doing. Because a lot of times we're saying, well, I didn't put on the event. The event planner should be recording and getting testimonials. They don't care about that. They don't care about pushing your speaking career. It's up to you to take your own marketing and your own marketing team with you so that you can get the footage you need to win, right? Even if you have to go up to the kids afterwards and say, oh man, yeah, I'll take a picture. Hey, what'd you think about my speech? And then just step out the way. Right? Because you don't want them to think like, hey, he got the kid by his arm twisted his arm. Like, what'd you think about my speech? And the kid's like, oh, it was good. It was good. You don't want that, but that's kind of the idea, that you want to be able to get as much, especially as a new speaker, you need as much collateral as possible. So really quickly, and we'll move on to the next thing. Terrell, what you got?
I was gonna say if he doesn't have that, another cheat code, go on podcast and get all those clips. I've been booked on many stages just because they saw something profound I said on the podcast.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so many ways to do it, guys. The biggest thing I've seen is just not enough effort, right? What's the old thing that they say? Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. But if talent works hard, nobody can beat it, right? Most talented people, they don't work hard enough. They got the message, they just not telling nobody. And they wonder why, man, they see the people, you ever seen a hater that's like, man, I'm better than him. Well, why you ain't up there then? Like, shut up. Like, you out here hating, but you ain't want to do the work to get up there. So man, I'm better than him. Okay, well, why ain't you up there? Man, I wasn't gonna do that. Well, shut up. He was willing to do it, so don't complain that Rodney got the TEDx talk on your topic. Did you get a coach to help you? Did you even pitch and reach out to that TEDx talk? No. So what? Shut up. Don't complain about the results you're not getting from the work you're not doing. Right? And we try to live that. We are out here every day. So when people tell me I don't have time, dude, come on, man. I got time to sit on the Zoom all day. I do 10 to 15 meetings every single day. Man, I ain't got time to do 15. Make them 15 minutes apiece. People shut up real quick if you only got 15 minutes to talk to them. Right? So you can do it. I don't believe that there's a lot of excuses to not achieving your dreams. So you know, those are good questions. We got 13 more minutes. Any other topics? We covered a lot today. It was good. We covered follow-up. We covered what to do at the events. We talked about how to get referrals. That referral gem is ridiculous. Like if you ain't got a printed out list of your 100 dream customers or organizations you want to speak at, shame on you. Especially if you just want to stay local, print out all the schools. Like, look, I'm going over to the school district. I'm talking to superintendent such and such, blah blah blah. Can I tell? And then when you reach out, you say, hey, I spoke with such and such. Can I have a meeting? Like your intent is that you're going to reach out to those people, right? You don't lie and say, I'm meeting with them next Saturday. If you're not, you say, my plan is to reach out to them. So that referral thing is incredible. Talk About It is great for getting audience feedback, right? Arel is a client of ours, right? We've worked with Arel for a while. Before you could do the outreach inside of Talk About It, we were doing that for Arel. Arel's case studies, that was one of the things that we had figured out, that case studies work as a way to get people interested in your product. So very proud of what Arel has built over at Talk About It, you know. Yeah, any other questions, comments, concerns, questions? 12 minutes. How can we help? Because I could just go ramble about some stuff if y'all want. But Christiane, I'm more curious about you because you are one that hasn't seen or used the product. I know that Darren, Rodney, Terrell, Miss Olatunde, and Kimberly, they've all used one version of our product or another. So since you're the new person in town, we got to make you feel like you're at home, you know? Even though Kimberly didn't share her lunch with us, we'll still, you know, make you feel at home.
Thank you. I think I'm in consuming mode. I'm just writing notes. I've been playing around with different things. I was trying to use LinkedIn to do the same thing and build up some sort of list, but it was not easy for me. And then I came across something called Apollo, and I'm just trying to learn that. And this is first.
Let me show you something. You want to see some magic? You want to see some magic? Yeah. Watch this. So we're gonna highlight you and bring you up, and we're gonna show you our product. Because everything that you can do in Apollo and all those things, you can do here with none of the headache. And yeah. I've used Apollo for years, so I know it very. So let's use you as an example here, right?
Sure.
And I'm going to change my profile to yours so that you get the full experience. And what's the name of your business, Christiane?
Next Chapter Coach.
And you're in Vancouver.
I think I pop up as Surrey actually, but nobody knows what that is. Same.
Okay, no problem. And speaker, coach.
Yeah, coach, life coach. I think I'd say facilitator, but maybe I should change that to speaker.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right. And then if you had to tell me again in one sentence, I help.
Oh God. I'm in the middle of shifting that from one-on-one pitch to group pitch. So that's part of my process. I help disconnected people. What the frick? I just meant a new one yesterday. Well, if I was talking about one-on-one, I help people try to find their authentic selves. So now I'm trying to widen that for group, and I'm trying to help in a group setting find the foundational skills so that they can have the capacity to be at their best. But well, leave it on the thing. I help client to find their authentic selves. I use embodiment practices to, God, this shouldn't be so hard, should it? I'm just in the middle of switching from one-on-one.
So let me give you a formula.
Struggling.
Can I help you a bit with this?
Yeah, I would love that.
Right. So I'm going to share a formula with everyone.
Yeah.
And 1 second.
And Ron, while you're pulling up that formula, a good cheat code that I just learned from an event I was out at New York that I was talking to Ron about from a professional speaker bureau. When they're looking for speakers, a cheat code, they look up professional speaker in LinkedIn. So if you don't have that in your bio, professional speaker, you're doing yourself a disservice. So put it in there. That's one cheat code of how they find professional speakers. Because there's a difference with being a speaker and a professional speaker. And if you know, you know.
Yes. I just joined an organization, the Canadian Association for Professional Speakers. So that's about to have a little icon in my LinkedIn. Thank you for that.
That was huge. That was huge. Thank you for that. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So let me share my screen really quickly.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back to what we were doing. But I want to share this because this is important to everyone, right? So I call this the offer statement formula, right? TA times MTO minus the BS, right? So I help your target avatar, and you can screenshot it, right? Help your target avatar to achieve their desired outcome without the thing that they hate so that they can do the ultimate thing, right? So if I were talking about one of our appointment booking businesses, I help coaches to get sales appointments without building complicated funnels so that they can make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I know they hate building these funnels, right? Or I can say I help speakers get booked for more speaking gigs without having to play with a bunch of different software so that they can get booked more consistently.
Mm-hmm. So I would, off the top of my head, I would help disconnected staff improve their communication and lower their stress, or without the stress and anxiety. No, I got to work on that. So stress.
So here's the other thing. You don't want to label the audience with a name that they haven't labeled themselves with.
Yeah.
So when you say disconnected, nobody's going to, how many of y'all disconnected? Ain't nobody putting their hand up.
Yeah, good
right?
point.
So you can't label them prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use the language that they use.
So you're really saying the opposite. At the beginning of this call, when I forgot the woman's name, said her niche is women. As a one-on-one coach, you're really pushed to niche, and we're just about to do the opposite here.
But I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why.
I heard it. Yeah.
When you're explaining what you do in general to a large group, you can't afford to have them disqualify you. Yeah. Right. So if you said I help women, I would tell you, I would ask the same question. I would say, do your techniques only work with middle-aged women? And if you said no, I would say, well, change it to people. Do you see what I mean? Totally. If the technique worked on all people, it works for all people.
The irony is that I worked so hard to make a pitch the other way for the one-on-one, and now I'm doing and coming to the beginning of my journey. It's making me laugh.
Right? So, but this is what we use. So if we had to type something in, I help clients to find their authentic selves using embodiment practices without what?
Without, well, something about anxiety and stress, like
Without causing
without burnout.
anxiety. There we
Um,
go. Or stress. That's perfect. Leave it at that. And that's very simple. And let's come over here. Christy Ann Zorowski.
Ron, we're still seeing the offer statement formula.
I know. Yeah, I know. I got it.
Oh, okay.
Do you know there's a Christian Zorowski too?
there's not.
Bam. And
No
a
way.
Christine. There's a bunch of people.
What? There are very few Zarowskis out there. That's bonkers.
They all got a lot of Christines though.
Wow. You just blew my mind. I know my family, when they immigrated, changed their name spelling. So that's weird. I didn't think there were many of us.
Well, you got a lot of twins. That name is common.
That
You know?
is strange. Funny.
Right. So I'm going to put your LinkedIn in here. And do you have a website? What's your website?
Yeah. Next chapter coach.
.com?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to hit save here. And then I'm going to click
Mm-hmm.
regenerate with AI. And it's going to look at your LinkedIn, look at your website, look at your job description statement that we created. And then it's going to write a bio for you.
Okay.
This is something that Apollo can't do.
Yeah.
The other thing is that we validate all of our emails. So you can see here, here's our description really quickly.
So that's just a little AI bit there.
Yep. Is it accurate or no?
Yeah, I would tweak a few things, but yeah.
Okay. We're just looking for 80% accuracy for now,
Yeah.
just for the demo.
Yeah.
You can
Sure.
come back in and change it. But just from that bio, automatically, now look at what's happening. We're automatically giving you the podcasts that match. Apollo can't do this. With Apollo, you got to search through all those.
Yeah, this is speaker specific. I see that.
Yep. So now, let's say you wanted to go on this Embodiment Matters podcast. You click on it. What you'll see will give you the last 10 episodes. So you can make sure that you think it would be a good fit.
Yeah.
You click add to a list. And then you click this orange button that says pitch. We're going to look at that bio. We're going to look at the podcast and write the perfect customized pitch for you and that podcast. And there it is.
Yeah. Awesome. You're doing a really good job of selling this.
I'm just demonstrating it.
Yeah.
All I did was click the buttons.
Yeah.
Right?
You're doing a good job. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
That's it. But this is what we do.
Cool.
Make sense? So
Yeah.
all you would do is add a title, podcast guest, which is a good one, and you hit send.
Cool.
Does the same thing for associations. Darren was looking for youth associations.
Yeah.
You come in, you type in youth, it brings up 7,000 of those. You want break dance. Let's see if they have that. That would be one. We don't have any break dance. We do got dance. I bet you we got some dance ones. There we go. We got 462 dance associations and, conferences, dance conferences or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? 100 dance conferences around the world. So it works the same way. You add it to a list and then the AI will write the pitch for you.
I just clicked online while you guys were talking earlier, and it shows like you can pay monthly, but you're choosing which of the monthly things. Like somebody's got podcasts only, associations only, and then there's probably a whole large package that does them all. Did I understand that right?
Yep, that is exactly right. When you go to SpeakerHUB,
Yeah.
we have 3 different plans,
Yeah.
and they basically start with, we go down here to the bottom really quickly, and then we're going to get to Terrell's question. Exploring is for the person who hasn't decided they want to be a speaker yet, but they need to go on podcasts to kind of test out their core story and learn the answer questions about it. Emerging is for someone like Darren, who is doing speaking, but he just started a year ago. So speaking in front of a room full of kids is great training, because if you can keep their attention, you can usually keep the adults' attention, especially you got 700 kids at a middle school. You could probably do conferences, right? And then experience gives you access to the conferences, right? And it's okay to do what Darren did. Darren did the exploring, and he's trying us out with podcasts right now. Hopefully, because we have all those youth conferences, he eventually upgrades and says, this is a lot easier to use these conferences versus me having to go out and try to find my own list of its own, right? But one of the cool things about it, really quickly, is, I don't know if my next meeting joined. Nope, they haven't. The cool thing about it is that you can upload your own list. So if you have your own list of conferences, you can upload them right here in order to send your pitches, and it costs you none of our credits to reach out to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like the LinkedIn Pro where you have a certain amount of reach outs. So similar.
It's just like Sales Navigator.
Yeah, that's the one.
So we have the same model where you can have a free profile, like I showed earlier.
Yeah.
You can have an upgraded profile, and then you can have Sales Navigator. So those, but if you buy the Sales Navigator, you get all the other stuff just like LinkedIn.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad I hopped on today. I appreciate all the good questions from people and all the good advice and the idea about switching it to professional speaker. Thanks so much. I have another Zoom to jump on to at 10, so I'm going to have to hop off. But
Great meeting you. Hopefully we see you on board. Give us a try.
We're here every day.
thank you. I appreciate you guys. Really good.
And before you hop off, let me give you one more gem before you hop off.
Yeah.
For everybody who's switching their thing to professional speaker, because this is one thing that I got back from New York that we all hate as professional speakers and the bureaus, is when you're doing your pricing packages, professional speakers do day rates only. We don't do hourly. So all you speakers out there that being professional speakers, stop doing hourly. You're messing up the game. It's day rates. And I can't really give you an average because it depends on the industry and so forth you're speaking in. But like if you're going to be out for a day, if you don't have a book, the range could be anywhere from 5 to 10K. If you have a book, it could be 10K on up. And that's some game you're not going to get unless you in the know.
Awesome advice. Thank you, Risk Capital of the World.
Frank, I'm glad you joined us. So Frank is part of our SpeakerHUB Ambassador program, and we had a 1:00 meeting today. But if you don't mind, Frank, we can just talk. This is our normal 12 o'clock meeting that we do at SpeakerHUB. So any questions you have, first off, introduce yourself and let people know what you do and what you talk about. You're muted.
We can't hear you.
I'm going to say,
yeah, I'm really a professional. So the other part about professional speaking is you got to learn how to use Zoom. No, but yeah, Frank Kitchen, professional speaker. Before I became a speaker, I actually booked speakers and performers for about 12 years. Crossed over to the dark side about 18 years ago. Been a professional speaker ever since, going on 10 years of full-time speaking. The best way I like to say it is, with my last name being Kitchen, we keep things kitchen inspired. So I work with people who want to flip their mindset and cook up the results they hunger for in their career, business, and organization. I'm a keynote speaker, so work with groups all around the world, predominantly professional associations and corporate groups. I do books, courses, and programs that way, because I think I heard Terrell saying it earlier, is I get in, I speak, I will do like a breakout for the groups, and then after that, they want any deeper dive, they can either buy courses or books from me. I'm not looking to be that coach or consultant. I love that piece of being in front of everybody. As Terrell was saying earlier, this is a business. The bigger problem you solve, the more money you can make. So there's not one fixed price that goes to it. I coach speakers on how to get on those platforms and make over 6 figures. So that's something I enjoy doing. Speaking is a legal high, but we can't change all the lives. So if we can impact other people to go out and share their content, their passion, their dream, their purpose, then guess what? You're still having an impact on the world. We are not competition. We're collaborators. So the idea is we each have our own areas of expertise, and guess what? We can't all be in one day at one place, but there's nothing wrong with me speaking here this year and then recommending Angela to speak there next year, and have Christina come back year 3, and then I think it's Nijka to come back year 5. And when she goes, hey, you recommend a speaker? Oh yeah, there's this guy Frank. Yeah, we haven't had Frank in 5 years. So we are a community to help each other out versus to try to see each other as competition. We can't just be chasing the dollar because people can see that. The idea is we have to make the most impact possible when it comes to speaking. So the idea is if someone contacts you and says, hey, can you speak on this? Don't chase the dollar, be an ambulance chaser. Say, hey, that's not my area of expertise. You know what? You might want to speak out to, Darren. Darren's going to go there and do a great job. If he does a great job, they understand you care about the results more than the money. And if they understand what you speak on, I speak on mindset, leadership, and workplace culture, then when the time is right, they're going to contact me because I set them up for success versus just chasing that dollar. So that's the quick part, Ron. If they got any questions, I could talk all day, but
I
if they got
mean,
any
you keep
questions for me,
going, man. I mean, I didn't know you were gonna come on and give a TED talk. This was great. Like, you just saved me a bunch of time. I mean, he has the game, right? And I think the key thing that he mentioned is that he knows it from both sides, from booking people and being on stage. And Frank and I met back in August at the NSA conference. And you can tell if you're talking to the right people by how other people treat them, right? And if you saw the amount of respect that the other members of NSA had for Frank when they would approach him, you were like, okay, this guy's the man. He don't have the man attitude, but everybody else knows this guy is someone important or impactful. So, I'm grateful for him to not only be a part of what we're building at SpeakerHUB with the SpeakerHUB Ambassadors Program, but I'm glad that he was even willing to come on to answer any questions that you all may have had, even though that wasn't what was planned.
that's the plan. Yeah, I'm here to learn also, but like I said, I see some hands up. So yeah, let me go ahead and answer questions.
Hey, Frank, I'm Darren. Thank you for coming on. And I was going to pose this question for the next time. That's why I put it in the chat. I thought we were getting off. But I heard you say you're a speaking coach yourself. So I guess the question is it best to, or when do you hire a speaking agent? Or do you continue to, grow your business by being a part of platforms like this? If you could share just kind of on that.
So obviously we're on the platform, and I'm going to say you got to use the platform. Most speakers don't like hearing this. Agents don't need you until you don't need them. I mean, too many speakers get into this game thinking if I get an agent, and I've had agencies that got agency representation, they think that's the end game. Agency's job is to take care of themselves, to feed the mouths of the people that they have working for them. So the idea is if you think an agency is going to go feed you, if they've got 200 people in that agency, 1,000 people in that agency, it sounds mean, but they don't really care about you. They're thinking like they see you as a product. Who's going to bring in the money? So whoever's bringing in the most money right now, that's where they're going to channel their energy. They're not looking to build up your career. So when I had an agency years ago and I first got into the youth market, we had a retreat. 18 speakers were in the room. That's a small agency. And they go, okay, who here speaks on leadership? 16 hands went up. So the idea is if someone calls up that agency and says, we've got a leadership conference on this Friday, if I'm booked on that Friday, the agency's got 15 other people to pick. They'll book it. The agency's happy. They're making money. But you as a speaker, like, well, where's my money? So the idea is you've got to look out for yourself, and having an agency is like going fishing. You've got your fishing pole in the water. The agency is just another pole out there to help bring stuff in, but you're thinking strictly on the agency, then you're not going to do good. Most of the speakers I know, most of the work that's coming in is the work that they're doing and being on platforms like this. So nobody's going to sell you better than you. So when it comes to an agency, the reason agents come after you is they start seeing you getting speaking work, and they reach out to this conference to say, hey, we've got a speaker, to go, oh, you know what? I went with Darren. Who's this Darren? Hey, I got a speaker for your conference. No, we got Darren. Who's this Darren? They're going to go look to see if you've got agency representation. Then they're going to reach out to you because they can make a percentage off of you. You are a finished product. They're not looking to build you up. So don't think of like, hey, I need the agency. Put in the work. The best thing you can do is hire your own assistant. The assistant can use SpeakerHUB to go find the leads for you and reach out, and you can pay them a percentage. But if you're just looking strictly for the agency, that's it. I've got agency representations according to when I was on, not saying any competition here, Ron, but like, NSA's got the connections with e-speakers.
Yeah.
I think I'm listed in like 40 plus agency websites. Last year, I got booked twice by an agency.
No, I think what you said earlier, we're not in competition, we're in collaboration. I think if I had a product, right, he makes a great point about being on other platforms, whether it's Speaker Match, eSpeakers. If I sold Sprite, I just don't want it in Target. I want Sprite at Walmart, Walgreens, Woolworth, Sears, Kmart, even the stores that close should be carrying my product, because the more shelf space I can get of people seeing my profile, the better my inbound is. Do you see what I mean? So that's why we talk about that inbound part, where we're saying, look, we want you everywhere, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. Get on all the profiles so that they can find you. And we're working on some partnerships with Speaker Match and Talkadot in order to give their people our program and give our people their program so that we can collaborate a lot more. Because again, the goal is to get you all on more stages.
Yep. And Darren, the whole piece about the agencies is there's certain groups when you reach out and they'll say, hey, I only book through an agency. So when they say that, then ask them who that agency is. And then what you can do is you can reach out. For me, any city I go in to speak, or even when I speak virtually, I will invite agents to come and watch me, because the best way to promote ourselves, everybody, is to let people see us what we do best, which is speaking. So I've had rooms where, like, if I know there's an agent, because they're not, either the agency's in that town or I know one of the agents under that agency lives in that town, I'll invite them out to say, hey, do you want to come and watch me speak? Because they get hundreds of videos every week for people begging to represent them. They want to see a finished product. So I turn my speeches into showcases. I will either invite clients in, prospective clients, or agents. And I've actually been able to sign a couple of deals off of those, whether either speaking deals or agency deals, because they got the chance to see me do what I do best, which is to speak and engage with people. So even right now, had an event last night. We're going to do a little meet and greet right now, but there's a person who owns an entertainment agency, saw me speaking here in Phoenix last night. She goes, hey, I'd love to talk with you more. She's like, can you recommend speakers to me? I'll tell you right now, if anybody lives near the Phoenix area and is looking to speak for salon owners, less than 100 people, they've got a budget that's roughly $2,000 to $3,000. They're looking for a female speaker. Guess what? I can refer you to that. That's part of being part of SpeakerHUB, is we can start to find out who people are, and we can make, recommendations. So the idea, back to the whole agency piece, there it is. I'm not saying to run away from them, but don't put all your eggs in that basket, because they're looking to take care of, the agency first more than you. And like Ron was saying, if you go to Walmart, Target, these stores, think about it. You go down the soda aisle, like he's talking about Sprite. You got diet, you got like sugar-free, you got low-cal, they're trying to take care of everybody, so everything's there. But the one that's showing the most interest gets put onto the end cap to draw attention, because that's the one everybody wants. That's the flavor of the month. But guess what? A few more months, something else new is going to come. They're going to put that new product up there, and now Sprite's down the aisle feeling lonely, because like, well, what's going on? Well, there's a new hot product. And that's what an agency is. They're trying to drive as much money in as possible.
So I have a quick question, because I think it's something that gets overlooked, which is if they had to, we got 15 leadership speakers.
Yep.
Right? The top one charges $18,000. The new guy charges $3,000. How do they decide who they're going to recommend?
The agencies are different. I had an agency where owner was one of the speakers, so he was trying to take all the work for himself. But then I've worked with some other agencies where they understood where your area of expertise is. So they understand, okay, well, I want to get Ron. He's $18,000. Someone calls in, like, hey, what's your budget? Well, we got 5. Well, guess what? Ron's not going to fit in that. But hey, we've got this guy, Frank, who actually works in your industry. And the only reason this price is down, you got to get him now before his price goes up. And then if you have a smart agency, they'll recommend me, like, hey, here's quote Ron Light, the L-I-T-E. You can get him in. So if you're at the right agency, you can do that. Even as speakers, we can say, hey, you know what? You like Les Brown, but guess what? You can't afford Les Brown. But I've got a similar style. Let me share the video with you. I mean, so that's something that we can kind of go and do. So as you said, about the leadership piece, we're all can be leadership speakers, but the ultimate piece is you need to differentiate yourselves from other speakers. What makes you unique? What gives you your own unique taste? So when you aren't part of an agency where they're just trying to fill that leadership spot, but you have your own unique curriculum, your own unique content or methodologies, people will move dates. And that's something I learned during my career was once I started just using all my information, my experiences, my knowledge, I've had groups who said, hey, you know what? We want Frank. I'm not available on that Friday. Well, what about this Monday, or what about this date? Oh, wait, I'm at a conference on the Monday that opens, but your conference ends on Wednesday. we'll move the date for you because we want you so bad. So you got to create scarcity in this industry. So don't say you're like somebody else. Just back to the pricing piece. You're going to find your markets as far as you're going to start to understand what their pricing is. If you say a price and they say yes right away, then you probably need to raise your price because they didn't even try to negotiate with you. So that's one thing there. If they start saying, hey, that's too high, then you may need to bring your price down a little bit. There's different markets. Education markets tend to pay a little bit less. Corporate markets pay more. If the one group has people are paying $1,500 to show up for attendees, then guess what? They got a big money budget for speakers. If everybody's paying $50 to show up there, then guess what? The budget's kind of small. So you have to really understand the business of speaking. Too many speakers get in. When Ron was talking about professional speakers earlier, I think it's Terrell saying it too, is there's speakers and professional speakers. Speakers are people who just jump on stage and speak. They're good. Professional speakers are trying to figure out how do I leverage that event into future speaking opportunities. They're making the phone calls, the emails. 80% of what they do is not on stage, it's getting on those stages and how to position yourself to get those higher fees and to create that awareness of you. And that's the part that's difficult for so many speakers is, and that's why, Ron and I are meeting today, is how do we leverage tools like Ron's to get in front of more faces to create that, just awareness of what you do. It's not, hey, I'm just going to go speak and make people smile. That's what I used to do. Now it's like, okay, if I go into this event, I should get at least 5 to 10 leads out of this event. And how do I transform those leads from that event into more stages to take care of my family? And we can be honest right now. We know what's going on in the world right now, everybody. There's the next year or two, like, with positivity, negativity. Last time this stuff happened to me, like 8 years ago? More people booked me because they wanted that positive piece. So I had to be ready to go jump on there going, hey, I bring a positive outlook on what's going on versus negativity. So you have to really know how to market, how to position yourself, and you really got to understand the business of speaking more than just the speaking.
Really quickly, because I think you're the most experienced speaker on the call right now. I think you've been doing it longer than everyone that's here. What percentage, you said you have books and trainings and curriculums and other things. What percentage of revenue should come from on stage?
Should or mine that just go? I mean, everybody's.
It doesn't matter. Just an idea, because I think every person has their own preference.
For me, ideally, is I want about 75-80% of my work to come from on stage. I'm a keynote speaker. That's what I want. But eventually, like to probably move that down to maybe around like the 60 to 70%. Because I just got finished shooting a bunch of micro learning videos, which will be launched in 2025. So that's going to bring in some residual income, which will probably be about 10 to 20% of my income over the next 10 years. It's a 10-year contract. But then I have a group like last night, Better Business Bureau. We ended up selling for 3 events, $12,000 worth of books. For like 1,000 people, they put my book in everybody's seat. But that's the best business card possible. It's going to turn into future work. So I don't know how to go and judge it, but the idea is we all learned, especially back in 2020, that you've got to have different income streams. My mentor has 13 income streams. Right now, I currently have, I think it's either 6 or 7. So that way, when tough times happen, there's going to be another way to go and do. So a few weeks ago was my birthday, and I said, hey everybody, it's my birthday, so here's the deal. Here's a discount on all my speaking courses. And guess what? Revenue came in. I was like, hey, I was turning 51s, like for the next 51 hours, guess what? You get to get these courses at $51. Boom, we generated nothing huge, but it's $1,000 in income that came in that got to go push, position to, some different spots. So the idea is as speakers, we focus on speaking, but this focus on selling packages. It's like when you go to a restaurant, and if you're ever around me, I have a lot of kitchen analogies, but when you go in to a restaurant, they don't just sell the entree, they sell the side dishes. And as speakers, to make a complete meal, don't just sell, quote, the speech, the half-day training, the full-day training. What you want to do, you want to present the whole menu and then let them go ahead. So I know speakers where they went in, like they speak, they make $5,000, they're happy. They speak 20 times a year to make $100,000. That's good. But I know another speaker, they're speaking 20 times, but they sell their speech, they sell their books and collateral, and they go, hey, we'll go do a deep dive or coaching for all your higher level people, and they're making 20,000. So I speak 20 times for 5,000, make 100. They speak 20 times for 20,000, they make 400,000. Look at the difference. They're not working any harder. So the idea is, what Ron is asking me is, you have to sell packages. So when people present to me, I've got a group I got to send a package to today. A is, hey, here's for me to speak. B is, here's for me to speak, plus like a workshop or breakout, and a couple of books, or here's the other one where this, and get the courses. So I'm going to give them my full piece and let them make the choice. But you have to present it to them first. And even another one you can all do. How many people here have books or courses? Anybody? As soon as they sign a contract with you, I send a thank you gift as soon as the contract goes through. And the gift I send to them are copies of my book. And this last year, 50% of the people who got that book wrote back later on and go, can we order a certain amount of books, or can we order books for our entire team? That's made a 20% jump in my income this last 2 years by offering extra product. And I try to sell it to them. I just send it to them as a thank you, and they go, wow, this is really good. How do we get more?
No, that's huge. Terrell, what's your question? We got 9 minutes, and then we're gonna call it quits for the day. And then Frank, if you want to stay on, you and I can have our normal meeting.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Terrell, what's your question?
Not really a question, but just wanted to say, Frank, thank you for coming on and explaining your expertise and everything. Everything was spot on. I wanted to hyper focus on a piece that I don't want to go over Darren's head when you talked about really looking at hiring somebody, right, to do the sales piece. And I think that's something that we kind of often overlook. Separate the talent from the sale, because a lot of times the talent, they're so passionate, and this is what I learned as I'm during my journey of becoming a professional speaker. So passionate, right, about the work that I get on the phone with these guys, and then it's like, well, that's not what's in our budget. Well, what's your budget? May lower the budget. And then I'm not available that day. Now I'm looking to like, oh, how can I make this work? Because I want to speak to those kids, right, and moving my schedule around. But one time somebody took that off my hands, and they were able to not only and they's like, oh, that's over our budget. They came back later and they say, hey, we could have went with this cheaper person, but we want Terrell, right?
Yep.
And not only did they come in at the budget that the person who was negotiating for me, they even moved their dates around for the event to make sure I got onto that stage. And so if you could get somebody, Darren, that could just be the salesperson, give them a percentage, whether it be an admin assistant or somebody, so you could be the talent and that person could be your agent until you get to that level where you have agencies calling you. Like that's so important. That piece was so important.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point. So anybody who's using SpeakerHUB, if you click on your name here and you click on team, you can add team members so that they can log in using their own login. And if you fire them, you can keep the account and still be able to go and track what they did, and then just change to your new staff person so that you maintain that continuity of the pitches that they were sending in the follow-up, right? So we built this in because if you don't like the team function, blame Ange, because Ange's agency before she joined SpeakerHUB is what we built this around her and her 5 employees. So all the functionality of the team function is Ange's fault. But it allows you to log in. You can't see it here because I don't have another person, but it allows you to log in. Here, I'll show you through PitchDB.
Can I ask a quick question while you're doing that?
Yeah, go ahead and ask the question. Sure.
So again, man, I'm a new speaker, right? And I've heard multiple things that I definitely want to do as we evolve. But I guess I'm asking, how do I do that at a pace that I can afford and at a pace of building something new that's totally different from 20 years of being a teacher and a coach?
So can I jump in on this one?
Oh yeah, real quick. Here's the team function where I was showing. Then I'll kill this share.
Yeah.
You see how I can log in and remove my team members really quickly? So you can have as many team members as you want. We don't limit how big you can make your team. Just wanted to show that so people know.
Yeah.
Right.
So really quick. So Darren, where are you based?
I'm based in Metroplex, Dallas, Fort Worth, but I also go back and forth to New Orleans, where I'm from.
Okay. So New Orleans and North Texas, Dallas, they both have NSA chapters, National Speakers Association. And I encourage you to reach out. If you reach out to both chapter presidents, who have spoken at both those chapters, say, hey, Frank Kitchen recommended I talk to you. That should probably get you at least an invite to the first meeting for free. Go there, get a feel for it to see if it's something that vibes with you, but they're going to be teaching the business skills of speaking, but they can also answer the questions about what you're saying now. How do I bring in somebody for sales? With speaking, I tell people this is version 18.0 for me. We're always going to be updating. So we're never going to be perfect. It's always working to get best, and you got to work with what works in your budget right now. So if your budget right now, you can't bring anybody in, then learn how to be the best salesperson that you are, but you need to notate everything that you're doing. So when you listen to Terrell over here, when you bring somebody on, you can teach it. So if you've got to record it video wise, so like my wife helps me and I just brought an assistant, they can go back and watch the videos, or I can watch through and train them. And when I train them, I record it again. So if we bring on anybody else in the future, teach them your style. For everybody on my team, I've got templates. So they can send out emails for me, and that's something that SpeakerHUB does for you also, where the email template looks like you. You can even give them your email password and have them send the emails from your account. But that's an easy way to start off, because they said it's difficult to have other people sell you because nobody knows your business better than you. But when you get a routine down that works for you, teach that to other people. So if you bring somebody on, and right now, if you can only afford, like, let's call it $20 a week, then have somebody like, hey, I just need you on Monday for 2 hours to send out these 5 emails. Or if I need somebody to go put together a list of what you need, what you feel is holding you back, and then find somebody who's got a passion or expertise in that area. And it's an investment. It's not an expenditure. You're investing in your business. Because I have my CPA, he talked about it. He goes, Frank, if you're being paid, quote, $2,000, $5,000, why are you doing a $10 an hour work? He's like, you could hire that person on, you're still making $4,900 worth of profit because they're doing that work for you. So you've got to find that person that you know and trust. You got to invest in them, and then you got to train them to do it the way that you like. So a couple of times you may have to hold their hand, but when you do this, then it's going to work. And then, like, as for me, I've got a person like, hey, here's all my leads, put them in the system and send the initial email and set up the appointment for me. I just bought back all these hours for me, so now I can just do the sales calls or jump on the video. Now, it took time to train these people, so it didn't start this way right off the bat because I was afraid to spend the money, but it will go. So figure out what works in your budget and then go from there. And then you're in a Metroplex area. You got colleges, community colleges, you got career services. There's students looking for interns. Go down to the career services office, find out anybody wants to be in sales and business, and bring them on as an intern right now. And say, hey, this is going to be an internship. I'll write you a letter of recommendation or review for your class to help you out. If this goes really good, maybe I can hire you on. And you might say, hey, if you help me close a deal, I'll give you a percentage, like Terrell was saying, and now you can give them money back. So, I mean, there's so many different ways. There's a billion different ways to do this business. Find the way that works best for you.
I'm actually participating in a Texas Westland business event next week, and I'm going to apply that. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll add one more thing to that, Frank. Like every metropolitan has a workforce development board, which has programs that pay people to work for small businesses. So they have a youth program version and an adult program version. Go to those workforce development boards, enter your business in, and you'll get free talent to work for you.
No, that's a huge thing. Or even get an intern. Put up, you want an intern. Let your niece, nephew, cousin, son, daughter, they can use SpeakerHUB. They can hop on these trainings. We'll train them for you.
There we go.
We use our system. We train them on how to use our system, right? So I'm glad that Frank brought that up, right? And I'll tell you a quick story in the last 2 minutes here. In 2017, when I first started negotiating the purchase of PitchDB, the original thing that we call SpeakerHUB Pro now, we were building out the software. Like, we bought the data, but we didn't have the software built. And I had to pay developers because I don't know how to code. So I drove Uber to pay the developers.
Mm-hmm.
I delivered groceries with Shipt to pay the developers. I went and bought a car. Specifically, I didn't even have a car because I was living in Colombia. I was back in the States, and I said, I'm going to go drive Uber. Let me go buy a car. I went and bought an old used BMW 7 Series so I could get on the good Uber. And I put 57,000 miles on that car, right? And I drove the heck out of it in order to build the company because I put all my money into buying it. So I'm like, shoot, now I got to pay these developers and the product ain't ready. A year and a half later, this was January 7th, November the 11th of 2019, PitchDB is available for people to purchase. 2 years. So I know the sacrifice that's necessary. I know what's needed, but I couldn't pay someone to drive Uber for me. I had to do that myself. I couldn't pay someone to deliver groceries and give me part of it. I had to do that myself. That was my investment in the business. That was my sweat equity. I had to turn the time I had into money so that I could pay for those things. Now, here's the cool thing that you can do with what we have. And I like to bring it back because I hear this all the time. Our basic plans here, for you to get the associations you need or whatever, you can get one of our basic plans on a monthly basis. We even offer them on a lifetime basis. You can pay us once, finance it, and have access to this forever. And the finance plans are actually give you access to double the stuff that our monthly plans give you. If you want to talk about it, I'll share it with you, right? But here's the cool thing. It shouldn't take you longer than an hour a day to send pictures. We did a write-up on a young lady named Sayron. Sayron sent 2,000 pictures in her first month. She booked 30-some podcasts and 3 speaking gigs. And I said, Sayron, how do you pitch so much? She says, well, at lunch. When I'm at lunch, I'm eating, I'm just gonna go send pictures. I don't even read them. She's like, I don't even read. If you all match me with them, I'm sending a pitch. And I'm like, I don't know if you should do that, but okay, right? But she was like, I trust what you're doing. You told me to pitch, I'm gonna pitch. So say, Ron, pitch. Now, let me tell you how I know it was effective, right? Here's how I know it was effective. And it was life-changing for her. You see all these, you ain't making referrals to something that ain't working. Every day she recommended, yo, y'all need to be on SpeakerHUB. And she just tells everybody about the results that she's got. All these introductions is her introducing me to somebody else. Does that make sense? Now, why is that important? It's really, really, really important because the work won't work itself. You have to do the work. But if you do the work, it works out. So I'm not telling you need to invest a bunch of money, but I find it hard to believe that we can't find an hour to do the sales function in our business.
Yep. We
We can't find an hour to just approve opportunities that are given to us. As a financial advisor, I had to cold call 200 people every day and get hung up on. The system didn't select the clients that I could reach out to. It didn't write the speech for me to say. So what I'm saying, Darren, it's a small investment in yourself, right? We got 62,000 people that trust us. We know that the results are there as long as the emails are sent. So before you invest in a staff person, get the higher access to the data and send them yourself.
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm doing
And
that.
then, go from there. And then send your staff person over to us. We'll train them. Send them to these meetings. You ain't even got to train them. We'll train them. We'll answer all their questions and say, oh, I know Darren, he spent 2 hours with us one day. Here's how he really wants to talk about it. We'll fix all of that in these trainings, right? So
Yep.
that's my suggestion. Thanks, guys. Any other questions? I got to be respectful to Frank because he ended up coming on and doing a half-hour training for us when it was supposed to be our 15-minute meeting. So I got to be respectful to him. Anything before we go? I got 2 minutes and then we got to hop off.
I got 2. I want to take your idea. If you've ever heard of Disney's got the yes and philosophy. Somebody says something, you add on to it. So say and. So if you watch Ron talking about the pitching yourself, here's a big one too, is as he said, you get all that feedback. I always challenge people, go on your LinkedIn, your cell phone, your email, find 100 people that you know, like they saw you walking down the street, they talk, have a conversation with you, and send them information on your speaking business. Let them know, hey, this is my speaking dream, what I do, here's what I do, X, Y, and Z. And then you ask them this, you go, when you hear of somebody, not if, when you hear somebody who needs me, point them my way. Send them your website, your one sheet, whatever you have right now. And I can guarantee you, you'll have minimum 1 or 2 speaking jobs each year just because. So the same thing Ron just showed you about people telling people about SpeakerHUB, you can do the same thing about your speaking business.
100%. Here you go. Here's how you get those leads. Yes, and here we go. Yes, I agree. And we're going to do the improv. Come over to your LinkedIn. Go to settings and privacy. When you go into settings and privacy, it's going to give you data. I think there's data privacy here, right? And then you can see all of your connections, right? So when you go into all of your connections, everybody that you've connected with, you can download those people.
Yep.
Right. So once you download your connections, right, you see how it has it all here. You can download your connections. Just go in there. It'll show you how to do it. Bring them over into your SpeakerHUB account that you're already paying for. Upload those people as leads. Let the AI reach out to everybody on your SpeakerHUB list.
They're mind blown.
On your LinkedIn list already, the AI will write the pitch for you and say, look, I'm a speaker. I do this. Would love to have a conversation. If they don't respond, who cares?
Yep. That costs you 2 minutes. I mean, we don't have to make this business any harder than we already do. Like, it is a hard business, but we constantly do things that make it harder than we have to. And like the reason I'm gonna be meeting here with Ron in a little bit is he's showing me and other speakers how to simplify the things that we're already doing. I mean, right now, like this is AI and technology, but there's so much technology right now that would have taken me months and years, you know, when I started years ago. I mean, I was back in the day when you had to send out VHS tapes to people. I mean, now we've got one click from what Ron is showing us that can contact, if you've got how many people, 2,000, 5,000 people in your LinkedIn, it can send out an AI created email pitch that sounds just like you, that doesn't look like a pitch, that lets people know. And if one or two of those people contact you and say, hey, I want to book you as a speaker, that can go back into your business. They can hire your intern, so he's making it easy for you.
Guys, we need to take up an offering for Reverend Kitchen. This was incredible. Like, I mean, you know, it's good to have a different perspective, a different voice from someone that is respected in the field. I'm very clear. I'm not a speaker. I just do the work, right? I'm a speaker in spite of myself, is the way I like to say it, right? But people pay Frank to get on stage, and for him to take the time, totally unexpected. Frank, I really appreciate you sharing it with our young guys that are
No problem.
trying to do this thing. You know?
Yeah, I put my LinkedIn over in the chat. I told people, please reach out. I mean, what we do is a legal high, everybody, and I want everybody to enjoy that high. I mean, so whatever, you know, me, Ron, what we can do to help. I mean, I want to see more people on stages, not just me. You know, I want to see more faces that look like us, you know, on stages right now to impact lives. So, you know, if you've got a question, I always told people in this business, the more questions you ask, the further ahead you get. So if you keep trying to do everything by yourself, you're going to get those types of results. I mean, build off the community. I mean, so much knowledge has been shared in here already. And like I said, I've watched Darren's mind just get blown. He's like, he had that whole body movement there. So, I mean, that's what we got to do. I try to meet with one speaker every week. And every time I meet with a speaker, I learn something new or different to add to my business. This is a relationship business. Just keep building the relationships.
So Darren, I put the private invite if you wanted to upgrade to a lifetime account. Lifetime account is actually cheaper than the monthly payment, right? So, I think I sent it to the wrong person. Let me put it to everyone. The lifetime account with SpeakerHUB, let me see if it's coming through, right? It should take you to this page here. I'll share it, and then we'll end the call for the day, right? So it'll bring you up to this page where you can pay once. And if you don't have a credit card with the space, we'll finance it and let you make monthly payments, right? This is cheaper than if you bought, and it gives you more stuff than if you bought the monthly plan. Make sense? So there's the opportunity for guys who want to be a part of SpeakerHUB, who want to be stuck with us for life. You know, we're always looking for SpeakerHUB pros. So, all right, guys.
Ron, one last quick question. When you purchase a lifetime, can you upgrade that also if you're at one of the other
you can
levels?
upgrade by paying the difference in the future.
Okay, thank you.